overcommitted myself a little bit. I'm gonna make it work. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about everything that I have been working on over the past couple weeks craft-wise, mostly knitting, sometimes some cross-stitch. Today is knitting heavy. So let's jump on in. Before we get started, there are some places you can find me on the internet. The main one is birchandlilyfiber.com. You can also find me on Instagram at birch.and.lily, and all of the other places you can find me will be linked down below in the description, along with everything that I talk about this episode. So I do have a couple fun announcements for this episode. One being, last episode was the 5,000 subscriber giveaway, and I did draw the winner for that. Our winner is Lee Gifford. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'll have that up on the screen. So Lee, you do have the 4 weeks to contact me. If I haven't heard from you in the 4 weeks, I will be drawing another winner. The other announcement I have is so exciting. I'm so looking forward to this. If you have watched Carson from Carsley Handmade, she's on YouTube and Instagram. Oh my gosh, you know how amazing she is. If you haven't, she's going to be linked down below, and you have to definitely go check out her YouTube channel and her Instagram. She makes some of the cutest projects. She just had a baby. She's making baby knits. It's just, I really enjoy every time one of her videos is live on YouTube. But we got talking a little bit, and Carson told me about this fun knit-along idea she had. And she is so sweet, and she's letting me join in with the knit-along. So basically the idea behind this knit-along is going to be to use up some of those single special skeins that you've been hoarding in your stash but you've never used because you just like to stare at them because they're too pretty. And you're scared to start a project because what if I end up doing the wrong thing and I don't like it and I love this skein so much? Basically, the skeins of yarn become art in your home because you don't use them. So that's what the premise of this knit-along is going to be. We have called it the Special Skein Knit-along 2023, and basically, pick a favorite skein. I'm holding mine right here because I'm going to show it in a second. But pick 1, 2, 3 of your favorite skeins that you really, really want to use up and get starting on a project for them. So the knit-along is going to run from May 10th to June 10th. It's just going to be a month long, but we are going to allow whips to be entered, finished objects, as long as you have started something and got more than like 2 stitches done with one of your favorite special skeins in your stash. You are eligible to be entered. To enter in this knit-along, all you're going to have to do is tag both me and Carson and use the hashtag, which I'll put across the screen here, and I gotta read it off my sheet because I'll forget, Special Skein KAL 2023. So if you use that and tag both of us in a post on Instagram, you're entered, and we're gonna have some fun prizes. I know for sure I'm gonna be giving a skein or 2 of yarn, which is kind of funny because you're going to use up a special skein and then I'm going to like replenish your special skein. Anyways, there's going to be some skeins of yarn. But yeah, if you're interested in donating a prize for the knit-along as well, please contact either me or Carson. We would love to give away some of you guys' fun products and all those sort of things. So if you're interested in donating a prize for this knit-along, definitely contact me. My email is down below in the description. So I think that's all the rules. We're trying to keep it really, really simple so that lots of people can join us, because I know we all have those skeins in our stash. If you're looking for inspiration, next week's video is going to be a roundup of a whole bunch of fun patterns that use up single skeins of yarn. I've pulled some really, really pretty ones, and none of them are socks. I tried to kind of stick to the rule with myself that like anyone can knit a pair of socks, but with a special skein, not that socks aren't wonderful, I love socks, but with a special skein I wanted to pick some really beautiful patterns that would kind of help those special skeins in your stash shine. So that's going to be next week's video, little sneaky peek at that. But I wanted to show you the yarn that I've pulled. I've had this actually caked up, I think, for a couple weeks now. And I've wanted to cast on a brownstone beanie, but I've just been holding off on it because I'm like, is that the right pattern? I don't know. But I'm gonna do it. I feel like Carson bringing up this knit-along idea was like the push I needed to cast this on. So I'm gonna be knitting along with you guys for the knit-along, and this is the yarn I have chosen. This is from Explore Knits and Fibers on their Denali sock base, and it's called Desert Bloom, and it's just like mauves and like peachy orangey colors and blues and purples, and I feel like this is me in a color palette. So I'm going to, I think, be knitting a brownstone beanie, like I said. I think that's my plan, because it's a beautiful pattern. It's a hat. I'll get a lot of use out of it, and I should be able to use up like as much of this yarn as possible. And I already have a Musselburgh hat on the needles that I'm using, actually another skein of yarn I've been hoarding from Explorer Knits, to knit. So maybe I'll have to finish that one for this knit along too. But this was another one that I just had one skein of and I've been hoarding, and I would really like to cast something fun on with. So yeah, that is my plan. I hope that you'll join Carson and I for this knit along. We're both really, really excited to get started with this and just enjoy some fun knitting time with all of you in the community. So I hope you'll join us. The other thing that I really quickly wanted to say, do I have it here with me? I don't. I'll pop one of my finished object photos on the screen because the pattern's live now. If you are interested in the Uptown Tee pattern, the tee from Tori Yu, I just wanted to let you know that it is live really quick, because I know a lot of you were interested. Okay, let's jump into what I've been working on. I have a finished object. I am really, really proud of this. I haven't trimmed any of my ends yet. They're woven and it's blocked, but I haven't trimmed them yet. But I'm so proud of this because I seamed on my first pocket. This is my color tip tee. It's a pattern coming very soon from Emily Curtis. It's just the most beautiful, simple tee, and it has a working pocket. It's so hard to hold things, but it has a working pocket. Like, look at that. I knit a pocket. I knit a pocket. I love this so much. It's so cute. It's the perfect length. And if you have seen or have knit yourself the Dad's Sweater pattern from Emily Curtis, which I've knit, and it's like literally one of my favorite knits ever to date. If you've knit that, this tee is loosely based off of that. So it has the same arm construction with that, like, it's a mock set-in sleeve. So it looks like a set-in sleeve, but there's no seaming, no work like a set-in sleeve. I do see my short rows there looking a little messy. I might, okay, we're gonna get into some stuff. I'm gonna keep that thought in the back of my mind, and we'll just talk about kind of the basic stuff of this first. So this is my color tip tee. The pattern is technically designed for all of the tips, the edges of it, to be knit with like different mini skeins, but I decided that I wanted to use the same color for all of my ribbing basically, and I'm really pleased that I did. I think it's really, really cute, and I'm so happy with how it's turned out. I'll definitely wear it closer to release date. I think there's still maybe a month left in testing. I don't have my planner with me to double check that, but it should be coming out within the next month or so. But what did I have to say with this? So yarn I used quickly first. These are both from Woolberry Fiber Co. The main color here, the lighter color, is Sandcastle, and the darker color is called Slow Fashion. These are both on her Tweed base. I don't think I've ever knit with Tweed, but I really, really like the effect that it gives. I think it's just really fun and different, and it was great to knit with. I did find with it that my stitches in the process of knitting looked a lot messier. I think just because sometimes the neps in here can make the stitches look a little and behave a little bit differently, because the neps can kind of make certain sections of the yarn a little bit thicker. So I did notice that when I was knitting, but as you can see, it's evened out just fine. So very, very happy. It has a folded over collar, which I prefer. I think it gives the collar a lot more structure, so I'm glad that was included. And then all of the ribbing on this is actually knit on the same needle as the body. So you don't have to switch needles at all, which was kind of nice, to be honest. I think it also gives the tee like a more relaxed, cozy fit because nothing's cinching in too much. Like ribbing is always going to cinch in a little bit, but it doesn't like suck in. So yeah, what I wanted to say about the pocket. This is the first time I've ever mattress stitched on a pocket. Emily did include or find a video that shows how you do that, and I'm pretty pleased. It looks really seamless to me. You can't even really tell. But I did have issues. Once I finished seaming it, I did notice that one side of the pocket was higher, and I blocked the sweater hoping that it would hide it, and it didn't. So this morning, actually, I unpicked the one side and just re-mattress stitched it together. And I'm glad I did. Let me hold this a little bit different. I'm glad I did, because I think it would have really bothered me if the pocket was a bit crooked. But otherwise, I've always heard that seaming is horrible, and I didn't find it that bad. Now I have a garment coming up where I'm going to have to seam basically the whole thing together, so we'll see how I feel after that. But to seam on a pocket was not that bad. So yeah, I think it was worth it. It adds a lot to this garment. It looks a lot like I have nothing else in my hand knit wardrobe that is like that, so I really like it. I am really pleased. Let's see, what else? I get so rambly and then I feel like I've forgotten things. I knit the size 4. I'm happy with how it fits. It is about the ease that I like in my garments, the usual ease, which is about 2 to 4 inches of ease, I would say. Yeah, 2 to 4, maybe a little bit more, but the fit is great. The pocket placement is great. I will say, like I said, my short rows there are a little messy. I had the worst time, and it's nothing to do with the pattern, it's a me thing, but I had the worst time picking up stitches for these set-in sleeves. I don't know what it was. I re-picked up these stitches probably like 10 times. I could not get the stitch count right. I don't know why. I don't know what the issue was, but I was having a terrible time. So I feel like it's a little bit messier than I would like, especially looking at it on camera. Now, granted, I feel like filming things makes everything look way worse than it actually is, but the stitches in the short rows on there look really messy too, so it might even be worth taking my steamer to this and steaming it a little bit and just seeing if that can even out the stitches a bit, because they do look a little bit messy. But that was a me thing. It has nothing to do with the pattern. So yeah, that is my color tip tee. I will model it here on the channel closer to the release date. But I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. And that thing's a fingering weight sweater, and I feel like I knit it relatively quickly, so not bad, not bad. That is all I have for finished objects. Let's jump into works in progress. I have a couple new ones, one you have seen, and a really pretty bag that I think I'm going to start off with, which I did not make, but I shopped, I believe it's called Jenna Rose Handmade. She had like a shop sample sale, and so all of her beautiful bags and like project bags and like bags were all on sale for like super cheap, and they all had like some sort of tiny flaw. I can't find the flaw on this one, to be honest. She said there were flaws. I don't see no flaw, but I ordered this humongous gorgeous bag from her seconds sale, and I think I got it for 60% off. And it's just beautiful. It's big. But here's my thought. I think, because I have issues with test knits. Now, what's the word I'm looking for? I overcommitted myself a little bit. I'm gonna make it work, but I think I need to cut down on the test knits a little bit and kind of work on some of those other projects I have on the needles. I might have to in the next couple weeks do a whip down video because I feel like I have some stuff sitting there in project bags that I haven't touched in months, and some of it needs to go. But I think I'm going to put all of my test knits in this bag in their own separate bags, but keep them all in one place so I can just like pick it up and go, is kind of my thoughts. That was a fun motion. But while I've been working on my Musselburgh hat a lot, when we're out and about, I have so many test knits right now that it would be nice to just shove this big bag in the back of the car and then decide which one I want to work on when I get somewhere. We'll see if it ends up working out, but I want to use the bag, and it's cute, and that's my plan right now. So, I have them all shoved in here, or the ones I'm working on at the moment. The ones that need to be done the soonest are in here. One is in a project bag, one is not, because it's just been sitting upstairs by my bed, and I've been working on it. This sounds weird, but while I work out. When I take a break in between a set, as long as my hands aren't too sweaty, I put a couple stitches in. So that one's been sitting in my room. But let's start with my Marigold tee. This bag, I don't even know where this is from. It's been ages. But this is my Marigold tee. This is my first time knitting with cotton. I have mixed feelings. I like how it feels, drape-wise. It feels a little weird in between my fingers. I'm getting used to it. But I find I have a harder time getting my stitches to look even, and I found when I blocked my swatch, they didn't even out as much as, say, if I was knitting with wool. So, we'll see what I think when this whole thing is finished, but I wanted to try it. I want to have some cotton garments in my wardrobe because I can't wear knitting in the winter, of course I can wear knitting in the winter. I can't wear knitting in the summer because it's too hot and humid here, so I wanted to have some cotton stuff that I could maybe throw on over a tank top or something just to be a little bit warmer, so we'll see. Anyways, I am using these yarns. This beautiful one here is from a cone, actually. This is from a Woolyknit cone of cotton. It's 100% cotton in the color Pale Mint. And this one here, I ordered some Holst Garn Coast, which is 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton. And this color is just called Linen. So that's what I'm using for this. And like I said, this is the Marigold tee. I'm testing it for winter's weather knits. And before I started recording this, I worked like a mad woman all morning because I wanted to get to a certain point on this because it's the weirdest shaped thing right now. I'm going to have to seam a lot of this, which is going to be interesting. But it's so weird to hold up that I wanted to get, like, look at this. I wanted to get to a certain point so I could kind of somewhat, that's the backside, somewhat explain what I was doing, because right now, oh my gosh. So, let me look at this myself and figure out what I'm doing. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to look like this. So this is the one sleeve, this is the body, and then this is like the neck hole here, and then it'll be Kitchenered along here all together with another piece that I'm going to cast on next. So I have to seam all of this from the from the underarm all the way down the side, and it's going to be on both sides, which is going to be interesting. I think I'm just going to mattress stitch it because I understand mattress stitching now from doing that pocket, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But I do think what I'll do, because I had issues with the one side of the pocket being higher, is maybe count along the stitches before I seam it and like stitch marker it together every 10 stitches or something so that I make sure I stay on track, is kind of what I'm thinking. But do you see, I don't know, I just feel like my stitches look more uneven than normal. We'll see how they block out. It's also a really loose gauge, and it's meant to be that way. And actually the gauge on this is more important because I'm knitting it this way. The gauge on it is more important row-wise than it is stitch-wise, which is not something I'm used to, which meant I think my fabric came out even a little bit airier than maybe some of the other people who are knitting it. But I do know from blocking my swatch that it did plump the cotton up a little bit, so it should fill in some of those holes, I hope. But yeah, so this is half of it. I'm halfway done. Can you look at this? It's got a tubular cast on. Sorry. I'm just really proud of it. I redid it so many times because I didn't like how it looked, but finally I like how it looks. So tubular cast on there. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say about this because it's so awkward. I have yarn going away because this is for Kitchener stitching. I have to Kitchener stitch and I have to mattress stitch. I may have got myself into a little bit too much with this one. I can do it. I know I can do it, but it's a lot. So I'm knitting the size 4, I think. There's like 9 or 10 sizes. I've loved every other pattern I have knit from Winter's Weather Knits before. I'm blanking on her name and I feel terrible. But I've loved every other pattern I've knit from them before, and I love the look of this. When I look, I'm sure I've put a photo on the screen, but when I look at the photos of the her finished object rather, it's great. So I'll probably cast on the other half of this tonight. I'm kind of pretty monogamously working on this because it's due March 29th, and so is the next piece that I'm going to show you. So I figure if I monogamously knit on this, I can probably get it done fast and then move on to the other one that's due on the 29th. And then, yeah, like I said, I overcommitted a little bit, but I'm going to make it work. I made the commitment, so I will do it, and I will never do this again. So that's my Marigold tee. And the other project that I have in here that I said was my exercise project. This is the Suri shirt V-neck by Caidree. The reason I'm working on this when I exercise is because I've had so many gauge issues with this that even if my fingers get a bit sweaty and my gauge gets a bit tighter, it's fine because I had such a hard time hitting gauge. I don't know why. I have no idea why. There's not very much done on this. It's just a lump of fabric. But this is Serendipity from my shop, Birch and Lily Fiber Co. on the Birch sock base, which is an 80/20 fingering superwash merino. And the gauge for this is 26 stitches by some rows. And I, for the life of me, kept getting 24 stitches. So I don't know what was going on with that. So I've dropped down to, this makes me want to cry a little bit. This is a 2mm needle. It's a US 0. I didn't even know they existed. But to do the ribbing on this, I had to order 000s, which is a 1.5mm needle. There are some other people who are having issues with gauge though, so it's not just me. And then there's other people who are getting gauge on like a 3.75mm needle, which is insane to me. But I knit loosely. I know I knit loosely, and it is what it is. So that is what I have so far on that. It's a really cool shirt. It's a V-neck in the front and the back. So I think like with a really cool sports bra or something underneath it, that's like a strappy back, it would look really neat. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Oh, look at this. These are in the shop right now. They're like, can you tell? They're kind of like Opie holographic-y. Because the needles are so small, I only need to put one on my needle because that's all I need to stop the stitches from sliding off. So that's fun. But I used to hate knitting flat. I learned how to Norwegian purl a couple weeks ago. And I was having a lot of issues lately with rowing out in my knitting where my knit side was way looser than my purl side. Or so my right side was way looser than my wrong side, and it was making like weird like ridges almost in the knitting. And it's fixed it. So I'm so happy. It also doesn't hurt my fingers as much. I purled really weird. Like I caught the yarn funny with my thumb to push it down, and it was just hurting my thumb. My thumbs get stuck a lot. I don't know. So it hurt. But with Norwegian purling, everything's worked in the back, like with knitting. So it was so easy. And it's making for really nice fabric. So I'm really pleased with that. I think I'm getting faster. I felt so slow at the beginning because I'm a relatively fast knitter as it is, but then to throw the purling in, which was so different than I've ever done before, it was weird. But I feel like I've caught up again to kind of the speed I was at before. If you're interested in Norwegian purling, I literally just posted a reel like 2 hours ago on my Instagram. So I guess you're watching this tomorrow, so like yesterday, I posted a video on how I do it. So if you're interested in learning, it's so easy. It looks complicated because it looks like some weird dancey thing, but once you do it, it's wonderful. Wonderful. So yeah, I've been doing Norwegian purling on this. I'm knitting the size large. Like I said, there's like nothing to show here right now. Here's the ball of yarn. And yeah, we'll just keep working away on that guy because it is also due on March 29th. The final project that I've been working on has got put on the back burner a little bit, but I think once I finish that Marigold, I'll kind of go back and forth between this one and the Suri V-neck. So this is my resource raglan. It's a pattern coming eventually from, oh, you can kind of see the rowing out on here. See that, how it looks? I don't know. I'm going to start Norwegian purling on this and then you won't see it anymore, but it kind of looks lumpy. And you can't block it out. It's really annoying. So I'll leave it on here because it's on the back of the sweater and whatever, it is what it is. But this is my resource raglan. I haven't really done much since last time. And I forgot to put a progress keeper on here. I have one in here. Let's put it on right now so I don't forget. Yeah, I haven't got tons done on it because this one isn't due until the week after those other two, so I just put it on the back burner a little bit for now, but doesn't mean I don't love it, and it'll knit up faster than those other two because those other two projects are knit in fingering weight, and this one I'm doing a DK weight, so that is where I am with this. This color is Mauvelous from Birchandlily Fiber Co. And I'm doing like a double stitch raglan on it, and it's going to be a V-neck, so that's why it's separated like this now. Eventually it will meet. Eventually it'll meet in the front. So not tons done on this since last time, but soon it will get some love. Here's one of the cakes. It's always fun to see that, isn't it? One of my neighbors is doing construction. I sure hope you can't hear that. But yeah, that is that. It is in a Birch Grove project bag. I will always love this. I think I prefer bags like this with like a drawstring or nothing at the top just because I'm prone to zipping up yarn. But I like all project bags. I can't complain. Yeah, okay, that is everything that I've been working on these past couple weeks. Soon I will be done with all the test knits. My heirloom quilt cardigan is waiting because it's not due till July. And then I have another cardigan I'm going to cast on very soon once I get that clump that's all done in the next month done. This makes me sound ridiculous. I am ridiculous. I signed up for too many things. It's okay. I'll figure it out. It'll work. It'll all be good. Yeah, okay, so all of that aside, please join me and Carson in the special skein knit along. I would love to see what special skeins you have kicking around in your stash and what you decide to cast on. If you need some inspiration for that, come back here next Tuesday to see the patterns that I've pulled as some ideas for what you can knit. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really helps out the channel. and I really appreciate you coming back every week and watching what I've been working on. I will see you very soon. Bye!